What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of cryptozombie. So today's Saturday. I hope you're having an awesome day. Shout out to everyone that's been liking, subscribing, and commenting. You guys freaking rule. Now, if we have a look at the charts today, not a bad day. It's a green day, right? So I'm sure if you woke up and had a look at your portfolio, well, you're probably in a good mood today. Looking at what has happened, we do see Bitcoin dominance now at 52.5% with a $3,743 Bitcoin, 33-cent XRP, and $124 Ethereum. Looking at the biggest gainers of the day, we have Apollo currency up yet again, making amazing progress. Loopring, Augur, 10x on some news with that as well. Electroneum, Power Ledger, Steam, Aurora, Theta, and BitShares all doing quite well today. Also, if you've been following Grin is actually down 20% on the day. It is $5.38 currently, while I guess you could say its competitor or whatever you want to call it, Beam, is up 25% on the day. So that's pretty much the news going on with the prices, guys. Having a look at what's going on. This is what we got excited over, this little green spike right here. We still have a long ways to go. In fact, volume has fallen off recently, which is something to take note of. Now, talking about what some are saying out there, well, some analysts have previously noted that Bitcoin is currently stuck in this 3,500 kind of $4,200 range. Matty Greenspan over at eToro said, as he's been discussing since mid-November, that the current range is from 3,000 to 5,000. It seems now that Bitcoin has opened up a new mini range within 3,500 to 4,200. Now, obviously, this morning, we just broke out of that little tiny one right here, and we're sitting at 3,700, right? So a lot of people were saying we needed to sort of break through that $3,700 barrier in order to get to the next level. But as you can see right here, we topped out at around 3,780, and we couldn't quite break to 3,800. So you also have Luke Martin saying on Twitter that he thinks that Bitcoin's price action is having the ability to break over 3,700, which that happened, so that's fine, and trade above this price for an extended period of time. So if we are able to trade above this price and not fall back down over, it could potentially open up the gate for another leg up to approximately 4,100, which would be towards the top of the range. You also have John Pearlstone, who recently said that he believes that Bitcoin could soon see a price surge if it's able to continue trading above 3,500, which could lead to a price target in the $5,000 range. And if Bitcoin is able to surge above 4,000, well, then it could possibly lead to a rally in the altcoins as well, which is usually what happens because Bitcoin tends to lead the way. Bitcoin will have a massive surge, and then all of a sudden you'll see some of that going into the altcoins. You'll see the altcoins pump, and then you'll see it kind of suck up all of those gains and go back into Bitcoin. So that's usually what kind of happens. Although Bitcoin has been trading sideways for the past couple days, you have Kevin Davitt, senior instructor at CBOE. He told MarketWatch that the trend suggests that Bitcoin could start seeing some increasing levels of volatility. It's been a little boring recently, we have to admit that, right? So the new year's underway and volatility appears to be percolating, which is off-putting to most passive investors. However, there are many market participants that understand volatility is a constant, and if volume numbers at CBOE are any indication, they are actively embracing the tools available to trade volatility and risk management. Now, you also have crypto brokerage firm BitTorrent believes that a further decline is possible, but they maintain that if we were to break down lower, they think that it would strengthen the market and not weaken it. And here is what they had to say. So, writing in a daily note to their clients, you had BitTorrent Executive Vice President Brian Donovan said that Bitcoin is mimicking the trajectory of the 2011 silver bubble, which saw the precious metal spot price explode to nearly $50 and then crash soon after. So today, for reference, silver's trading around $15. So that's quite a crash compared to its, April 2011 high. So it's down 70%. Now, BitTorrent has been tracking similarities in the 2011 silver bubble and Bitcoin's recent price movements since early December, predicting at the time that Bitcoin would likely break down interim lows of around 3,200 within 1 to 3 months. That thesis was borne out with Bitcoin USD plunging to a yearly low of $3,128. So far, these guys are calling it pretty accurately. They say, we believe this thesis still remains intact, which could mean seeing a break of the lows in the coming weeks. So a 25% sell-off of Bitcoin from the current low of 3,200 would be roughly a $2,400 Bitcoin. Now, in yesterday's video, I personally feel that 2,500 is, for me, that's that psychological barrier that I just don't think we're going to go any lower. Plus, we had massive resistance back, in June of or the early 2017. So I think that could be it. And if we do go down to 2,400, I think we'll have an instant sharp, almost, V type of a bounce back. So also, just getting back to what they were saying, BitUda believes that the next sell-off could be just what cryptocurrency needs to finally break the backs of the bears. With the Bitcoin price sitting below 2,500, institutional investors who missed on the historic 2017 run-up might finally feel comfortable gambling on the asset class again. So if this drops lower than 2,400, they say that they believe new institutional players will enter the space to start reallocating their assets and resources into cryptocurrency. And Donovan concluded that since Bitcoin has first mover advantage and it's basically got that household name recognition, he thinks that will be the coin that Wall Street uses as an avenue to invest to get into all of the digital asset exposure. Okay. Now, obviously, there's also guys like Brian Kelly from CNBC, which a lot of people like to sort of, point at these guys. CNBC didn't really get the greatest reputation last year. I mean, there was actually a chart that came out from I Love Crypto from Jacob Canfield, and he was pointing that if you did the complete opposite that CNBC said last year, I think you would have had like a 97 or 98% chance of a gain or something like that. So take everything with a grain of salt, but he was discussing the overall state of the crypto market, and he said that he thinks 2019 will turn out to be much better than 2018. I can't imagine 2019 being worse than 2018 as far as price goes, that is. The analyst argued that we're somewhere close to the end of the bear market, but we might have another dip to go. It wouldn't surprise me, he said. Speaking specifically about what we could potentially expect in 2019, he went on to say that probably the focus will be on currencies. He thinks we're going to move away from some of these crazy things that came out, and we're going to start focusing on things just like Bitcoin, Litecoin, coins like that, because we have quite a bit of geopolitical tension in the world. We have he says we're starting to see some global macro players use Bitcoin as alternatives to their gold position or as a way to hedge against fiat currency fluctuations and volatility. So we've seen this happening out of a sense of need in places like Venezuela, right? Not to mention just even the recent speculation over coins, right? I mean, Apollo cryptocurrency has been doing really well. Well, that's a privacy coin, right? You also have Grin and Beam. So there seems to be a theme. Now we're talking about these privacy coins again, right? The market moves in cycles. One time it was the SegWit coins that were pumping, privacy coins, smart contract platforms. There's always these kind of waves, but I think right now we have, as we've seen, been focusing more on just currencies. So according to Kelly, we'll see Bitcoin become a more accepted asset among mainstream investors. However, when asked about the likelihood of a Bitcoin ETF, he basically said, no shot. No shot at all, which I'm not really surprised. I don't think you should be surprised either. Now, I like to check out all these different crypto forums, obviously Reddit. Now, Reddit is a scary place. Now, sometimes it's, you can find some really just crappy garbage shill posts, and other times there's actually some gems on there. But one particular thing I wanted to point out was this user was pointing out the fact that so far in 2019, and even at the end of 2018, we've seen nothing but good news after good news after good news come out about crypto, but yet the price has really not reflected all of this news. So why is that specifically? Well, this is one of the top comments, and I just wanted to highlight this because this person says, I was in high school during the first tech boom, and it looked very similar. There was a whole bunch of fluff and new groundbreaking technology at the same time, and a bunch of rabid investors that didn't know how to tell the difference between the two. And when it crashed, those same people were screaming that investing in the internet was pointless and it was a scam and it was just some nerdy guy's hobby and nothing more, right? But the truth was that all the money that was flowing in was actually allowing that seed to develop into what the web would become today. And things slowed down a bit after the crash, but once the tech was out there, it was only time before people started putting the pieces together into the thing that they hoped the internet would become in the first place. But obviously it took a lot of time to get people's trust to put their money back into these companies again, right? So this person finally says, I think that's the spot on the curve where we're at with cryptos. After the frenzy, people are starting to put together the pieces. That's why we're all hearing this good news, which means that eventually the price will recover. Obviously, not all of these projects will survive, but that is just basically coming from the mouth of someone that actually lived through it. And before we move on, guys, I know this is not crypto related, but this definitely is something that can affect a lot of us. It has affected people. So just please be careful really quick. So there was, it says the 773 million record collection one data breach. So what is this all about, guys? Well, basically there was a data breach that was called collection one that had about 87 gigabytes worth of email addresses and passwords, okay? There was nearly 3 billion records and over 700 million unique email addresses included. The reason I bring this up is because that's a lot of email addresses, okay? So I want to make sure that you guys are safe out there. On top of that, there was 140 million of the addresses that had never shown up before, but it gets worse. There's reportedly 4 additional collections that are much larger in scale. They're currently being evaluated to see if they might just be repackaged of previous hacks, okay? So currently collection 1 is the biggest single leak ever recorded, and what's actually pretty crazy is that collection 1 constituted about 8% of the total data in terms of size that's been reported across all 5 of these collections. There's also a specific folder marked BTC combos, which I would assume means Bitcoin, right? So obviously this should be treated with somewhat concern. Also, some other facts to consider. Collection 1 is reported to be about 2 to 3 years old and contains data from 2008 to 2015. Not 100% confirmed, but that's what it initially says. Collection 2 to 5 we don't have much information on, and the hacker known as Sanixer claims to have up to 4 terabytes of password data in total, stating that some is less than a year old. So there could be potentially some newer ones. So the reason that I'm just bringing this up is to let you guys know. I know it's not crypto related, but it does give you the opportunity to sort of learn from this, because one thing that I want to say is always enable 2FA, two-factor authentication. If you are using Binance or using any type of place to trade, please put two-factor authentication on. I don't suggest using text message or anything like that, because we've seen all this stuff with SIM card hacks and everything else. So just please be careful, guys. And also, if you want, you can come over to this website right here, and it's haveibeenowned.com, or pwned with a P, right? So you enter your email address and they'll let you know if this is one of the ones that they think was potentially on the list. So I just want to let you guys know that before we move forward. Now, getting back to cryptocurrencies, talking about the big story of the day. This is coming out of Wyoming. So it looks like they've introduced 2 new bills to clarify the legal stance on digital assets and blockchain technology. The bill gives cryptocurrencies the same status as money, which allows banks to provide custody solutions to crypto. This is massive. This is really great news, guys. So Caitlin Long, who is the co-founder of Wyoming Blockchain Coalition, reported in the developments on the blockchain bill in a tweet storm. Now, I'll drop that below if you guys want. This is her original tweet. It is very, very, very long. In fact, there are 31 parts. So you guys can definitely check that out. But this article right here pretty much summarizes it for you, which obviously, if you guys don't know by now, I do keep timestamps below. If you ever want to jump around in the video, you know, if you want to find where some news is you're interested in, just click the timestamp. I know for some reason on mobile, it's not clickable, but it works on desktop. So hopefully they'll fix that. But anyway, getting back to the story, the bill introduces 3 classifications for digital assets, including the main one being digital assets, also digital securities, and finally virtual currencies. So digital assets would be treated like general intangibles, whereas digital securities would have the same laws as traditional uncertified securities, and most importantly, virtual currencies like Bitcoin would be given the same status as money. This classification will help advance the crypto ecosystem move forward, as there will be regulatory clarity for blockchain companies to operate effectively. Major smart contract platform Cardano, as we just talked about, is already trying to establish itself over in Wyoming. The most notable part of the bill is that the virtual currencies are treated the same as money, which allows banks to provide custody solutions. Unlike trust companies, which are currently the qualified custodians for crypto, banks will be able to operate in all 50 states. So, Wyoming rules money as private property under the Uniform Commercial Code, Article 9. Virtual currencies like Bitcoin would also be given similar rights, where owners will be able to transfer Bitcoin without the need of any intermediary, right? Senator Nethercott of Wyoming said that Wyoming is an innovative and forward-looking state that is open for business. We are excited for what the future holds and want to continue taking the lead with shaping the future of business. The time is now to provide the pathway for blockchain and cryptocurrencies, and Wyoming has the nimbleness and responsiveness to the needs of these industries to respond accordingly to the growing and adapting landscapes of cryptocurrency. Also, I just wanted to say one more thing that Caitlin said. She said, every single blockchain company is operating with some degree of legal risk, whether it's a startup or even Fidelity Investments, because the law in the area hasn't caught up with what's happening in the real world. If you listen to the SEC, their comments, the SEC has been fairly specific about issues that the industry needs to address, but there is still some uncertainty. So, as far as these ETFs being approved and etc., but Wyoming has responded by proposing those fixed issues, and importantly, doing so in a way that matches how technology actually works. Once again, guys, I just want to remind you how early we are, but this is great news. Congratulations to Wyoming, and I understand why Cardano is moving over there, to be honest with you. So this was a sample size. This was a poll of 14,828 people, and you could see right here the question was, I own some cryptocurrency, yes or no? So you can see right here, European consumers, 9%, massive amounts in Turkey, 18%, USA only 8%, Australia 7%. So you can see right now, we are still so early in this, guys. So that is something that I just wanted to note. Now let's dive into some cryptocurrency news. As you guys know, the hard fork for Ethereum got delayed. There was a critical vulnerability. We went over this. Some of the chain had split. If you watched my video yesterday, we talked about the fact that there was 10% that were on a different chain. So there was a potential that there could be complications if you were sending Ethereum yesterday. Hopefully everyone was safe, and if you guys I hope that everything worked out all right for you. So it looks like they had their meeting. Even Vitalik agreed on Friday. So now they've had the update and they're moving it to February 27th, okay? Core developers explored a more aggressive path of 3 weeks, but ultimately decided to play it safe. Considering the event involves more than just removing the code, there's also a great deal of client testing involved with the hard fork. Also, due to overwhelming popularity of the blue Litecoin logo seen in UFC 232, Litecoin has decided to officially add it to the style guide, so you can download all the assets in the PDF on Litecoin Foundation, and now you can put a sweet blue Litecoin logo wherever you want. So there you go. That's news, apparently. Also, wanted to talk about the CEO of eToro. He says that he's actually been pretty impressed with Tron's plans to expand their file sharing company BitTorrent. As you can see right here from the tweet, he says, "This is big, an ICO for BitTorrent with 100 million users and nice concept for token economics led by Tron Foundation, who bought BitTorrent and partnered with Binance. I promised myself I wouldn't invest in any ICOs for a while, but it's an interesting move from Tron." Now, I do want to talk about the fact that they did come out, they were talking about this. Now, it was previously Project Atlas. The tools promised to improve download speed, etc. So talking about BitTorrent speed on Thursday, they said that they will be they did announce it, and it's going to be available in the summer. But there is also this other company that we've talked about, and this is Upfiring. You might be familiar with them. So in an announcement that coincided with the release of the BitTorrent date, Upfiring said that their own app was now usable and BitTorrent was defeated for several months now. As of Thursday, Upfiring has launched its open beta version so that the app can now be used by the public. Upfiring's balancing model promotes seeding in slightly different ways. Unlike BitTorrent speed, Upfiring does not give a bandwidth incentive. Instead, users must use tokens to decrypt the downloaded files. So tokens issued for decryption are forwarded directly to the setters. So what do you guys think? Has anybody tried Upfiring out there? I mean, what is your opinion on it? Do you think it stands a chance? I mean, clearly BitTorrent has the upper hand. It's already existed. It has first mover advantage, and now it also has Tron associated. But do you think that Upfiring actually is a potential better solution? I'm curious to know what you guys think. Also, just so you guys know, if you're new to the channel, I do videos daily. Sometimes I don't do them on Sundays. But if you do enjoy the content, definitely get subscribed because I do these every single day. I also have a Telegram chat below, guys, which we talk about cryptos, and sometimes we do polls and stuff like that. Just kind of throwing it out there. So that's sort of where I tend to get some of these inspirations for the news that we bring. So moving on, I want to talk about Ripple super fast. They partnered with I think it's called Tsinghua University to launch a research scholarship program for graduates in China. According to Crowdfund Insider, the program will focus on how blockchain technology works and the current state of regulation in the country. We also have an interesting statistic about Bitcoin Cash. So as you guys know, the Bitcoin Cash hard fork happened in mid-2017 due to a bunch of discrepancies. One of them was SegWit, another was the block size. They said it wasn't Satoshi's vision anymore. So if you lived through it, you know. If you don't, well, it was a crazy time, I'll tell you that. But interestingly enough, one of the big things they fought for was raising the block size from 1 megabyte, which is currently what we have right now on the Bitcoin that we all use today, and they upgraded to an 8 megabyte block, right? Well, here's the interesting thing. Longhash reported that the average block size for Bitcoin Cash since it split from Bitcoin in August 2017 is roughly 171 kilobytes, which is 2.1% of the 8 megabyte limit. There's only been one day so far when Bitcoin Cash blocks have been more than half full. On January 15th of 2018, 1 year ago, Bitcoin Cash blocks averaged around 59% of their total capacity. Still not even, hitting the total. So in terms of recent block size capacity, Bitcoin Cash has averaged only 34 kilobytes in block size in the past 30 days, which is roughly 3.7% in comparison to Bitcoin's block sizes of 923 kilobytes in the same period. So some will claim that this is a positive sign that the Bitcoin Cash blocks are not at their full capacity, meaning, they're just preparing for the future, but others are just saying that it just shows that people aren't really interested in Bitcoin Cash. Now, I don't know about transacting with Bitcoin Cash, but I will say, going back to CoinMarketCap, Bitcoin Cash is number 4. So someone's holding it. It's the fourth crypto. So, I mean, that's just something that you really can't ignore. Anyway, moving on, guys, I wanted to talk about the live stream that Nex did. So this is the Neon Exchange. It turns out that they have recently just rebranded. And yeah, so they have switched their name to Nash, as you can see right here. Many people in the
communities and across the space have noticed that we have not invested so much in our brand. And there's a reason for that. So to be completely transparent to our community, in the past two months, a little bit more, we have been through a process where we are rebranding the company.
So I'm not going to go into it. It's a really long video. It's 2 hours long, but this is the section essentially where they rebrand, and you can see they're going with Nash now, and they say it's simpler because Nash.io, and it's kind of like sort of the N is like Neo, Ash, Nash, Dash. I don't know. Check it out. Also, they go into here and they explain why they did it. And yeah, if you guys want to check that out. So they're rebranded. That was the point of my story. I will drop that below. And they actually go into explaining specifically why. I'll actually show you. Look. They actually break it down and they talk about why they did what they did for the changes in the name. So check that out if that's something that interests you guys. Also, I want to talk about Venezuela one more time because the IMF estimates that their inflation is currently around 1.3 million%. So if you think crypto's bad, let me put this into perspective. That means that prices have doubled in Venezuela in less than 1 month. This has caused countrywide shortages of basic necessities like food and medicine, adding to the hardships endured by Venezuelan citizens. Conditions have become so bad that 10% of the country's population has apparently fled, according to The Economist. So the country's national currency, the bolivar, has plummeted in value clearly. To combat the issue, Maduro knocked 5 zeros off the currency by issuing the new sovereign bolivar. Forbes called this move a scam and a mere facelift to the issue. I remember when that happened. That was so crazy. But in desperation, the local people have taken a volatile and often sometimes difficult to use for these people, but cryptocurrencies. So on social media, you could see Bitcoin, Dash, and Zcash are often cited as the #1 choices for Venezuelans looking to weather hyperinflation. According to crypto statistics hub Coindance, the trading volume for bolivars on local Bitcoins has surged in 2018. The weekly trade volume for Bitcoin rose from just 170 all the way to 2,000 Bitcoin in 2018. And even adjusting Bitcoin's 75% fall in value since the beginning of the year, weekly trading volume in Venezuela still has increased from $2.5 million to $7.3 million, over a 190% increase. So when you ask yourself, what is the purpose of cryptocurrencies? Well, look at what's happening over here and look at this chart and look at this demand and tell me that that's not some serious desperation for some times of change, okay? Now, I also wanted to talk about Overstock. .com. They have their long-awaited tZERO security token platform that's going live at the end of next week. You have CEO Patrick Byrne. He said this on Friday. He told CoinDesk that the company is ready to hit the button and go live, but he was waiting a few more days to process user signups. But he says by the end of the week, next week, we'll be turning the trading system live, adding that this is a big moment for us, 4 years in the making. So that is some good news moving forward. Also, you know, wouldn't be a day in crypto without a scam, right? So prosecutors in Taiwan have indicted 7 Bitcoin traders for allegedly operating a sham crypto investment scheme that hiked in $51 million from more than 1,000 investors. The ringleader was a 47-year-old man whose surname is Lin. Focus Taiwan reported. The alleged scammers were charged with multiple violations of Taiwanese banking and business laws. The group of 7 were arrested in June 2018, but were formally indicted this week. So, officials say that the group defrauded about $51 million from 1,000 people across Taiwan and China since 2016. They fraudulently wooed investors by making false promises of exorbitant returns. The sham Bitcoin scheme promised returns of up to 355% after a year of investing, according to the Taiwanese Investigation Bureau. Prosecutors say most investors never received any returns of the investments until February 2018. By April 2018, they stopped receiving returns altogether. Now, where have I heard a similar story like this? Moving on to my final story, I thought this was some good news. So you have cryptocurrency payroll and HR company Bitwage has announced a rollout of new payment tools for businesses. Executives claim closes the loop in Bitcoin salaries for W-2 employees in the US. This is pretty good news, guys. So through a partnership with Texas-based HR firm Simply Efficient HR, Bitwage now offers client businesses a way to offer salaries in Bitcoin and Ethereum to regular payroll employees. The move is sufficient for Bitwage's U.S. customer base, as it means that companies can now pay employees with support for W-2 salaries reporting obligations. So this is crazy because a lot of people use, W-2 salary reporting obligations. So this is really massive news. Awesome moving forward, guys. So I hope that makes you happy. Before we get on, that's it, guys. I'm done. That's the news for the day. It's the weekend. Go out and enjoy yourself. Stop watching YouTube videos all day. That being said, I want to say thank you so much to everyone that keeps liking, subscribing, commenting. Also, guys, really appreciate everyone who's been supporting the channel. If you haven't had a chance to pick up the Ledger Nano X yet, Genesis Block Edition, as you can see right here, it's a limited edition and it's $119. And if you use my link, it does support the channel and you're keeping your crypto safe. So that being said, guys, once again, if you enjoy daily updates of cryptocurrency news brought to you every single day by yours truly, then definitely get subscribed, join the Telegram chat, drop a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Really appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much. That being said, that's it for me today, guys. So my name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.